Hi. Today, as I was taking this cello apart to fix it up, it occurred to me that perhaps many of you have never seen a cello taken apart. So I thought maybe I'd show you how I do it, what I'm looking for, what there is to fix, and how to do something like this safely if you want to. First, let me show you where I work. This is my studio, obviously, and we are looking at the top of my workbench, which looks like this. I've got a nice old hook rug laid down underneath the cello, and I've got some rags to hold the scroll up here, and I've basically kept all my tools and other stuff away from the body of the instrument so that it's safe. I won't drop anything on it. On the top of the cello, you see these two yellow pieces of paper. These are actually pieces of what we call, I don't know, post-its or stickies that I put on there before I take the bridge off, because that way when I put the bridge back I can see from where the corners are exactly where the bridge is supposed to be, and they don't leave any marks or anything on the cello. What I was doing was looking in the bottom hole of the cello, and you remove the end pin by simply taking the tailpiece off, pulling this out very gently, and I was looking inside the cello to see if the sound post is straight. Now sometimes you may feel you need a sound post adjustment, but when you look through the F-hole here down inside, it's very, very difficult to see whether the post is actually fitting straight or correctly. There you can see the bottom of it. It's very, very hard to see, even with a special light. The way to tell if a post is straight or not is to look right up through the bottom hole of the cello. And we're going to try to do that right now. If I can get the camera position right, you'll be able to see inside this cello. And you see, there's the post. And now you can see the top of the post. If I go like this, you can see the bottom of the post. And if you line it up with the edge of the cello to the right there, you'll see that the post is pretty straight. That's because I actually moved it myself, which is something you probably shouldn't try to do unless you've had a lot of experience with this. The bottom of this post was sticking way to the left of the inside of the instrument, so it was not really fitting correctly. So, if you want sometimes to check the health of your cello sound post, you can actually take it apart, just like I did, and look in there. And then if you see the post, if you see that the post is really crooked, then you should probably take it to the violin maker and have them straighten the post for you so that it fits correctly. But now I thought we would just put the cello back together again so you can see sort of how this works in reverse. The rag goes here to protect the top from the bottom of the tailpiece, because it will have to rest on the top of the cello, and then the end pin goes right back in the hole right here, and it should fit very, very, very snug. And this one I even need to tap it in a little bit with something, which I'll do with this. Until it's absolutely flush. So now that the end pin is in, I'm ready to put the tailpiece back on. Wire goes over here, and the wire goes in the little grooves. And now the tailpiece rests on the top of the cello, and I am ready to get the bridge up. Now, one thing I did with the bridge, which is also something you can do, this bridge was old, and so the holes where the strings go was worn quite deep. Well, something I was taught to do by Sam Zygmuntowicz, which is very interesting, is to take crazy glue. That's the stuff that comes in these little bottles. It's called super glue. And what you do is, first you clean the bridge. You can clean it with alcohol and a little steel wool. I always keep a little piece of steel wool close by that I can rub the bridge and get all the old rosin dust off it. And then, once it's all clean, you take a drop or so of crazy glue and put it in each of the holes and let it harden. And what this does is flatten the top of the bridge once more. You can see it's very, very flat. You can almost not see any place where the grooves are. But that means that the strings don't get buried inside the wood of the bridge, because that doesn't really sound good. So it's a good way to refurbish a nice old bridge that you're very attached to. So now all that's left to do is to take a single string, loosen the peg enough at the top to maybe get the string into one of the holders on the tailpiece, put the bridge back, sort of just let it sit there. If you have somebody to help you do this, it's even easier. And at this point you have to sort of hold the bridge, you hold the string on it, and you tighten up one of the strings just enough so that everything stands there. And from here, then you check to make sure down here the tailpiece is fitting correctly, that the little wires are evenly spaced and on this middle of the saddle. And from here you continue to string the cello up. You make sure that the bridge is positioned exactly where it was. You maybe should put a little bit of pencil lead where the grooves are going to be, so that the strings slip over the top of the bridge very easily. That way it'll keep the bridge from being pulled forward. But you will see, if I tighten the string, that the bridge pulls forward. So you always have to keep moving the bridge backwards as you tighten. And of course, as you tighten the strings, you have to watch out up there in the peg box that they're wound against the side of the peg box. And once you know the bridge is in the right place, you can take these off, tune the cello up, and you're ready to go. You've performed a pretty complete health check on your cello. I recommend to do this maybe every 6 months. Make sure your post is straight, clean your bridge, refurbish the little grooves there. It's good for your cello. It's good for you, and it's fun. I just made a video about fixing up your cello, where I said you should put pencil lead on the bridge and make sure that when you tighten the strings that the bridge stays straight. Well, here's what can happen. Check this out. High school cellos. One bridge is straight, but look at these. And this one, my favorite. I feel sorry for these cellos, but I don't have to feel sorry for yours.